Guy Gardner and Kent Nelson, still wearing his Dr. Fate costume as a helmet, also joining the heroes. And we see that Godfrey has Bronze Tiger at his side. Superman is appealing to the people to stay back. He doesn't want to hurt them. Guy Gardner, being ever the jerk, is saying, hey, speak for yourself, Big Blue. To which Captain Marvel says, stifle it. You're not exactly helping our case here. So this appears to be the moment that Darkseid has been waiting for, as the heroes are now completely encircled by this very angry crowd that's looking for blood. And at this point, this is when different children race forward, and they even come in to help protect the heroes. And of course, Robin's there. Also, little Lisa Sutton is there. And Lisa is the one who gets right up close to G. Gordon Godfrey. And she appeals to her father. She says, you once told me we could all be heroes, Daddy, if that's what we wanted. Please, Daddy, be my hero now. And this is where G. Gordon Godfrey makes his epic mistake. He responds by slapping Lisa hard across the face. And this is what breaks the hold that he has over the people, as they realize that he is, as one protester calls him, some kind of animal. He tries to give a quick apology to Lisa, but he sees from the look of people's eyes that he's lost control of them. But he's got one final trump card. He has the golden helmet of Dr. Fate, which will give him powers that possibly exceed even those of Darkseid. Fortunately, though, the Helm of Naboo cannot be worn by just anybody, and wearing the Helm of Naboo instantly turns G. Gordon Godfrey into puts him in a near vegetative state. To which Kent Nelson thanks G. Gordon Godfrey for finding the helmet, and he puts it back on his head. As the crowd is beginning to come to their collective senses, the Bronze Tiger realizes that it's time for Task Force X to disappear. The people go to Superman and start apologizing profusely, and Superman, being Superman, says simply, your minds are being controlled. There's nothing to forgive. And Guy Gardner is not having any of this. He feels that it doesn't matter that there was any brainwashing going on. A seed had already been planted, and Gardner accuses the people of having always distrusted, maybe even feared the heroes, to which Captain Marvel gives a pretty great speech on how, yes, the superheroes do need to stand apart from humanity, but this is in order to protect them from the threats that only the costumed superheroes can deal with. And if Gardner is looking for hero worship, he'd better look for it somewhere else. And Wonder Woman compliments Captain Marvel on his words, and she says that there will always be a need for true heroes. And Dr. Fate responds that there is also a need for a brotherhood of heroes. Even though Sean Johns has indicated that the Justice League has been disbanded, the purpose for which it was first joined is no less urgent in these dark days. And so Dr. Fate asks which of the assembled heroes will stand beside him in the name of justice. Batman gives a bit of a smile and says, in the name of justice, yes. Martian Manhunter says that he will indeed. Nowhere else is truly home. Guy Gardner says he's not exactly a joiner, and he'll think of it. Black Canary says that they can count her in. Captain Marvel, who's got a great smile on his face, on page 28 says, "Me too." Blue Beetle is also eager to join. The Flash, Wally West, reflects that he's still trying to sort out the mess that his life has become, but he'll be there in times of need. Gar Logan says that he is still a card-carrying member of the Teen Titans, but he invites them all to join the Teen Titans if they want. Superman echoes Wally's sentiment that he'll be there if the other heroes really need him. And he turns to ask Wonder Woman and notices that she's gone. To which Batman replies that they'll see her again. So now the question is, what will this group call themselves? And Dr. Fate says that he should think the answer to that would be obvious, and Blue Beetle is thinking along the same wavelength, and he says, well, let's call ourselves the Justice League. So the scene shifts back to Apocalypse, where Phantom Stranger tells, you see, Darkseid, it's finally over. As I foretold, you lost. Instead of destroying the concept of legends, you have merely reaffirmed it. To which Darkseid says that this is only a temporary setback. Cursed humans are too unpredictable. In the end, humanity is destined to fall before the matchless might of Darkseid, the Destroyer. On the final page, we get another beautiful one-page splash with Phantom Stranger looking immaterial as he stands over the assembled heroes, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc., and gives a really nice speech about what constitutes a legend. And he ends off by saying that he is proud to be counted in the company such as these heroes and legends. And the final text box says, the new beginning. All right, folks, I have a feeling that this particular episode is going to be a two-parter, given that this was an oversized final issue. And I certainly don't want to rush through this, so if I need time for a second part, that will come out in a couple of weeks. And I can also look back on the legacy of DC's Legends. But right now, let's go back to that cover. It's certainly poster-worthy. It's got an iconic feel to it. This whole mini-series really helped to establish the general tone in the DC universe going forward through at least the Copper Age. There was such a sense of hope, optimism going forward. It's something which Geoff Johns referred to a very metatextual sense in Infinite Crisis. And that's just encapsulated in this cover here that's beautifully penciled by John Byrne. And I'm looking at the trade here. I don't see any credits on who the inker was for the cover, but it's just great. And it's a cover which I'm sure somebody out there got blown up and turned into a poster for their room. It's just a great snapshot of the A-level heroes in the post-crisis DCU at the time. And the reason why it makes for a great cover is because it's not just a cover. It makes you think of this miniseries in particular. It just makes you think about the DC universe in general. I love that first page splash, something which I mentioned way back when I first started this Cole's Notes series in the calendar year of 2016 is that John Byrne was the perfect artist for this miniseries, not just because he was the writer and penciler on Man of Steel, but also because of his ability to really channel Jack Kirby, and that was something very important for this miniseries. A miniseries which was certainly meant to establish the scope and the sequence of the post-crisis DCU, but was also meant to make Darkseid the ultimate big bad in the post-crisis DCU. And certainly Byrne's depiction of Phantom Stranger is great as well. Look at pages 2 and 3, where we get several panels that serve as a flashback to earlier events from issues 1 and 2. This is very much like what I was talking about in episode number 113, where in 1986, 87, there were still a lot of people going to newsstands, convenience stores, spin racks to get their comics. Not everybody was going to a comic book store or subscribing to comics. So these 1-2 page flashback pages were very important to help people get back on track with the series, or to help those who missed out on the first couple of issues and weren't able to find them anywhere. The end of page 3, when Phantom Stranger reminds Darkseid about the one crucial factor in his equation. That factor, of course, was the innocence, the incorruptibility of youth. So a nice little callback to that bit of foreshadowing in the second issue. Moving on to page 4, where Dr. Fate expresses his surprise that Martian Manhunter isn't there. This is really speaking to the end of Volume 1 of Justice League of America. For those of you folks who have not read the final few issues of Volume 1 of Justice League of America, it was written by J.M. DeMatteis. A very dark ending for the Justice League title. Basically, Professor Eifel's robots had gotten loose, and amidst the chaos that was going on during Legends, the robots killed both Vibe and Steel 2. They almost killed Gypsy and sent her back into hiding. They very nearly killed Vixen as well, and their assault on Vixen was so bad that she was left with pretty significant feelings of survivor's guilt, and it's a reason why she would join the Suicide Squad during John Ostrander's run, as she felt she had to atone for something. I would say she felt guilty over the fact that two of her closest teammates had been killed. The third one had almost been killed, and she wasn't able to save them. So as for Martian Manhunter here, this was a case of Ostrander and Ween leaving Manhunter off the table here so that DeMatteis could wrap things up in the Justice League title. And then once it was done, this was an okay place for Martian Manhunter to return. And very important that he join here, given the plans for Martian Manhunter going forward following Legends. Looking at the hero's confrontation with the Warhounds, I want to say that in other incarnations of the Warhounds, people aren't just piloting the Warhounds. I get the feeling that they can't easily be removed from these large structures. Glad to see Parademons on pages 7 and 8. I mean,